Here we go, guys. Welcome back. We've been having a lot of really fun and goofy episodes. And when Hyland and I, when we were talking about starting a podcast, we wanted to cover, just like it says in our description, I don't want to read it verbatim, but we want to cover a variety of topics, whether they be serious or they're just fun and goofy and entertaining. I think when it comes down to brass tacks and we want to be serious, I think there's a level of entertainment as well as just being able to talk about things. And this topic is, Highland and I are very passionate about certain subjects and topics, not only socially but politically as well. And I think we're gonna get into the nitty gritty
I think we
today, right,
are.
Highland?
I think we are. And if you don't agree with what we have to say on this subject, please just watch it through and hear what we have to say. And we will be
Yep.
more than happy to listen to what you have to say in the comments, as long as it's respectful
Yeah,
or
yeah,
respectfully
definitely.
said. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we've gotten to a point. Well, unfortunately, I feel like with the political climate and the state of social media, everybody feels like they can say shit how they want to say it, whether it's disrespectful, harsh, blunt, whatever. But I think, and I'm a very blunt person, but I think when it comes to subjects like this, being able to, word yourself or, choose certain verbiage to be
It'll
able
come off a
to
lot better.
you got to
Yeah.
convey your opinion or your suggestions in a way that isn't going to just beat somebody into the ground, because you have an opinion is neither right or wrong.
Well,
But
yeah.
in this
Bring
case,
actual
most of the
points to the argument.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And we don't want to lecture you, but we do want to preface this podcast into because it's a very serious subject matter, you know?
It is. It is. Do you wanna fucking throw us into it or?
Well, I was gonna ask you actually, because I think you were reading it a little bit more, but the newly found Texas or newly written Texas abortion ban, bro. What do you know about it?
So I was actually talking to my mom about this, and we were, I'll just say now that like we're very pro-choice,
Oh
and
yeah.
we were kind of just we were in awe that this is a law in the 21st century, like that this just happened. So she was reading it to me, and basically, the first one she read to me was that you can, if you help a person, like if you live out of Texas, the state, and you help that person have an abortion, you can be fined $10,000 along with the person. Um, and a whole bunch of other shit for the person who's having the abortion or whatnot. Then there was one for like, there's a website now set up that if you think somebody's going to have an abortion, there's like bounties on them. So like now all Texans are bounty abortion hunters. Like this is a real thing. Like this is a real website. Some people crashed it with fucking. Now this is a bit jokey, but I think it's fucking awesome. People crashed it with spamming pictures of pregnant Sonic.
Like Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yes, and then they got banned from the website, and they downloaded a VPN, and then did pregnant Garfield.
Right, right.
So I thought that was a nice little fucking kick in the ass for that. And then as far as I know, it is the you can't have an abortion past or 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, I mean, according to the way NPR is breaking it down, is
Right.
yeah,
And
up until there is a heartbeat, which
right.
could happen between 0 and 6 weeks usually.
Yeah. Yeah. And me and my mom were also talking about that. And within 6 weeks, right? Like, you may not know you're pregnant. Like, she was kind of explaining it to me that,
Mhm.
like, menstrual cycles still can occur
Right.
in those 6 weeks. And it's
Right.
very unlikely you're going to know you're pregnant unless you went in for an ultrasound or something.
Mhm.
Which, why would you if you don't think you're pregnant?
Yeah, I mean, I think if a lady is, having her regular cycle, at
Right.
the end of at the start of the month you have sex, by the end of the 4 weeks, at the end of the month, you have your period. I mean, what's to suspect? right?
Exactly, and like it's clear that that law is set up so that you don't know you're pregnant, and then you can't get rid of the child. Like
Which is which
it's terrible.
and you dude, like, I'm all for finding a middle ground, I'm neither left or right, although I may lean a little bit more to the liberal side, but I'm also with my freedoms, but I'm all about finding a middle ground, and I don't think that 6 weeks is a middle ground. I think that's way too soon. Now, I'd be willing, and I know we're gonna kinda jump the gun here, but we can always backtrack. I'd be willing, and this is just me in general trying to find a middle ground because you can't please everybody, right? But 6 weeks
Right.
is a little too early, and you're basically just setting, the pregnant lady up for a trap, you know?
That's all it is. It's the freedom of a woman's right taken away.
Right.
Like it is a huge right taken away. It's a fucking human right.
Oh, yeah, and you know what I hate, dude? I hate when people are like, "Oh, are you pro-choice or pro-life?" It's like, I'm fucking both. I'm both of them. I appreciate life, but at the same time, you can't dictate what a woman does with her body. You can't
That's
make
exactly
a choice
it.
for her.
Right.
Like I was telling you before, can I read this little so what had sparked this conversation between Highland and I was there was a dude on my, on one of my social media pages, and he had posted this meme card or basically just this card with a bunch of words on it, and it had sparked this, but it says if you and I'll post it when we go into editing, we'll have this on the screen already, but if you have to carry a card in your pocket or a pass on your phone proving you injected a drug into your body to gain access to a grocery stores, receive medical care, or to move freely about society, then you no longer live in a free country and you are no longer sovereign over your own body. And obviously, he's talking about the vaccine and showing proof to
Passport.
go
Right.
right, to go into stores or just to move about freely about the country. And I had commented back that although, I may agree with this to an extent, we also can't forget that women also have they should be able to dictate what they do with their body. And if a woman wants to go get an abortion and something happens or whatever the case may be, they should freely be able to go and do so.
Yeah, exactly. And like I know we just talked about this, but I also just quickly want to point out without
Sure.
sidetracking
Uh-huh.
that all that statement is that card is bullshit about the whole vaccination passport. Like you still have rights to your rights to education. You don't have to be vaccinated.
Mhm.
You still have rights to go into the grocery store and buy food. That is
Mhm.
on there, and to medical health. It's it's the basic human necessities. You still have rights to them.
So that you're right. So out here in the Pacific Northwest, there are a bunch of private businesses that are saying that, look, you need to either provide a negative test result within 1 to 3 days of showing up to this establishment, or you just got to show us your vaccine card and you're free to either shop here or eat at this
And that's
restaurant.
their choice. That because there's businesses here who are saying we know
Right.
we're not doing that.
And if you were to go into a public library, that I it becomes different because now you are going to a tax holder's like
Yeah,
property, right? Like that's done by the state, that's done by I don't the state cannot say that you're not allowed in here because it is a public area,
right.
but this is a private business and private businesses are allowed to do whatever they want to an extent, right?
Exactly. And I think this follows into what I'm about to say. I think falls into the whole
Mhm.
abortion topic in a good way of
Yeah.
like your there's a difference between your human rights and your privilege. And like it is a privilege to be able to go to Denny's, and it is a
Right.
privilege to be able to go to these things because many other countries don't even have the privilege to do that.
Right.
It is not a privilege for a woman to have a right or for a woman to be able to abort a baby. It's a human fucking right. And
And by this card, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
no,
just
you're
real
good.
quick. By this card talking about you have no rights over your own sovereign body, Well, how do you think a woman feels when
Exactly.
you are dictating
When a
a
white old
law?
man is dictating a law.
You know, a group of men in political office are telling the mass, the masses, the women of our country or your country. I don't think your country has it right, Highland, in this case, but the
Yeah,
United
it's
States of America, these men are fucking telling women what they can and cannot do with their own sovereign body.
yep, and it is a complete violation of fucking human rights. And it is complete bullshit. And in Canada, abortion is legal.
Right.
And because and also this is a huge problem. Now what always okay what has been before, but women are going to have to go through like unethical ways to have an abortion now if they don't want to have a child, damaging themselves because their own human right is taken away.
Right.
That is fucking terrible. So now these women don't have rights to their body, but now they don't have rights to the medical care
Right.
technically, because it would be an abortion clinic you would go to, which is a fucking medical facility, I would hope.
Hmm. Hmm.
And now so it's going to resort to unethical ways that could actually end up hurting themselves. And so it's just there are so many fucking human rights broken in this, and the people spatting, oh, freedom, 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 freedom. Well, what the fuck is this? Like, what? Let me ask you right now, and I'm sure James would like to ask you as well. How can you say that we're getting you're getting your freedom taken away by a vaccine passport to show that you're vaccinated to enter privileges when you can agree on a woman shouldn't have right over her own body?
Right. I mean, if it starts there, what else are they willing to take? It starts with a woman's body
Well,
and keeping them from getting abortion, and then it just progresses.
right, and
And go ahead.
so sorry, I was just gonna
No,
say
you're
like
fine.
we say it starts there, but what a big fucking start! Like
Yeah, right.
that's not
It's a huge
like
reach.
it's a huge fucking reach. It's like, oh well, we just took away your right to, I don't know,
Right.
have a kid if you want to, basically, or sorry, not have a kid if you don't want the child.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, sorry, was that a minor inconvenience? Like that's huge. It's like we started at 100.
Right.
What the fuck? So like, what else could they possibly take away? Like that's a great question. What the fuck else could they possibly take away?
Well, imagine the tables turning, right? And we're not saying that, look, if a woman or a couple wants to go and have a bunch of sex and, unfortunately to an extent, right, go and carry out a bunch of abortions because, I mean, like, human life is it's fucking magical
Right.
to an
Okay.
extent, right? We
Right.
we but they have a right, they should have a right to go and in some cases, unfortunately, get as many abortions as they want,
Right. And I kind of have 2 points to bring up with this
by all
is
means.
scientifically, like there are rules and laws that doctors have that they will not abort past a certain pregnancy period,
Right.
because the baby is now formed to the point of like knowing its existence. Like it is
Mhm.
now like it's a being, right? And up until that point, the fetus doesn't, or the embryo, like it's not, it's for me in my opinion, like just scientifically looking at it, it isn't a human yet. Like it is not a developed human yet because it doesn't even know its own being. It doesn't like it
It doesn't have, like, a conscious
nothing was taken
conscience.
away. Yeah, exactly. Nothing was taken away. And so that to my second point, if you cannot, like, are all these anti-abortion believers, people, I don't even know what to call them. Damn. Are they going to take care of the fucking kids in adoption homes, the 4 million a year, as you pointed out to me before the podcast?
Yeah, so as of August 2018, the world population was over 7.6 billion people. Around 4 million babies are born in the United States each year. According to the Adoption Network statistics, around 140,000 children are adopted by American families, and around 62% of babies in domestic infant adoptions were placed with their adoptive families within a month of birth.
Right.
And I mean, that's a huge percentage of babies being adopted, you
That
know, like
no, that is fucking that is great because adoption homes are shit. Majority
they're
of them
so terrible.
are fucking horrible. So not
Yeah,
only did you bring a kid in this world, or not only because of this law, a kid now has to go through a shit life, but you don't want to take the responsibility for it.
right.
But now it goes through a shit life with nobody in their life.
And according to the JLC.org, according to the latest data, there are 437,500 children in America's foster care system who face a disproportionate risk of being incarcerated.
Eh,
So it just goes to show that, yeah, you're pro-life for how long?
yeah.
You know, you know, we were reading that there is a huge percentage of our tax money going, the United States tax money going into, you know, foster care systems or let's see, the federal government currently spends approximately $5 billion per year to reimburse states for a portion of their annual foster care expenditures. And it says a portion of, it doesn't say all of it.
Which is
$5 billion a year, and that's according to ASPE.hhs.gov. So that is a government website.
yeah, which is great. They should be funded.
I think so too.
And I think if it's with tax money, then like what else would it be? What other fucking money would it be?
So
Right?
I say that because, you know, it's like, oh well, how I just asked the question, like, how pro-life are you? Not you specifically,
No,
right?
but in general,
In general,
yeah,
like, how pro-life are you? Because you want to save the baby, but what happens after that baby is born? It's now going to get put into the system, more than likely get put into the system. You know, obviously that infants or
yeah,
babies they have a higher chance of being adopted rather than, you know, when they become children.
right.
Um, but what after that? I mean, because we just read that a huge percentage of them are face a disproportionate risk of being incarcerated, and now those same people who are pro-lifers are now talking shit about the people, the quote unquote criminals.
Yeah,
You
right,
know? And
right.
I didn't even look up what the number was of those criminals, how many of them were adopted or put through the system. I didn't even look up those numbers, but I couldn't imagine them being very low, right? Like they would be
No,
I'm sure they'd be a very high number. So again, how pro-life are we to
it,
where we would say we save the baby, fuck the mother, save the baby, and whatever happens after that baby's life, it's out of sight, it's out of mind. I no longer care.
you just set them up for
What
well, from the
for
statistics, you
failure.
set them up for failure. Statistically, from like
Right.
what I'm getting from it is
Yep.
it's just you set them up for failure, and then you bitch about criminal activity and crimes and those people. But
Yeah.
like, who what? Like I'm a little speechless. Like I've had this conversation with myself and many other people before, but
Mhm.
it's just like when hearing statistics, it kind of just it's something else. Like what? Like how do pro life people who believe in pro life and are pro life, how do they not look at this? You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
how do you not do this research or acknowledge yourself in this information before making the decision to be pro life?
Yep.
That's kind of my question to anyone who is pro life, and I'd love to hear your answer. Like I'm not deterring you from like not giving an answer. Please, like I'd love to hear your answer. That's I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't. My brain's moving at a million miles an hour with so many different like
I know.
what the fuck.
Yeah, and I can tell, and I'm doing my best to just like try to keep us in beat and
Right.
on
Of
pace. So
course. Of
I can
course.
go off too. Another angle that I wanted to kind of touch on was I'm a big constitutionalist, right? I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that some of our rights were amended, like slavery or women's right to vote. You know, for
Of
instance,
course.
I'm glad that these were all amended. But then we go back, you know, because the same people that I feel are pushing for this abortion ban or are quote unquote pro life, you know, because there's always those two groups of people, whether
Right.
it's pro life versus pro choice. Um, I like to think of us as being both, but we're not gonna keep people from being able to get this type of treatment if they need
Right.
it, right?
Right.
But
I would definitely say that I'm pro choice through and through. I respect life,
right,
but I am pro choice through and through, and there's nothing to say a woman should not be able to control that.
right.
So I would rather the woman have the control over her body, and there be nothing else to even fucking put it off topic that she couldn't have control of it. So my opinion on it is I'm pro life. I do not support or I'm sorry, I'm pro choice or pro choice?
You are pro-choice.
Sorry, I keep mixing it up. I haven't slept in like 30 hours.
You're
Okay.
good.
So, I'm pro choice.
Right.
I do not agree with pro life in any sense of the matter, only because it takes away the right of a woman.
Look, when I say that I'm both, like, I'm pro-life because I am pro-life, like, I am pro-life, but in terms
In the context that
of
this is in,
correct. I
it
am also pro-choice
okay, yeah. Yeah, I was kind of
because
more
I'm a
curious on how
fucking
you
constitutionalist, and I appreciate my rights, and I respect my rights, and I respect everybody else's rights, and to those who are on most of the people that fight against being pro-choice are usually have a religious background, but also share the very conservative political standpoint, most of the
yeah,
time,
usually
right?
very pretty like from
And
my
they're usually
experience, it's right-wing
right, and they're usually
radicalist.
gun-toting conservatives
Yes. Yes.
that really appreciate the founding fathers and what they've written. And a while ago, because there was just something that had happened, and I really wanted to see where this separation of church and state came from. Well,
Right.
Thomas Jefferson wrote a final letter to the Danbury Baptist Church. So the Danbury Baptist had requested something, and this is all within context. You can go through the Library of Congress website and read this yourself. You can read all of the letters that were back and forth. But I do want to take a little excerpt out of the final letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote, which he says, "I contemplate with sovereign reverence the act of the whole American people, which declared that their legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state." And I read that because I challenge people to really see like where they lie. You are more than welcome to be religious and go about, going to a parish of some sort and attending a church
Right.
and
That's part of
believing
your
whatever.
right.
You can believe whatever the fuck you want. But if we are going to be these gun-toting, proud, civil rights having fucking people, then we should respect the fact that there needs to be a separation between church and state. And this is where I think things go wrong and go so deep politically because the conservatives in this country are funded by obviously a bunch of businesses, but
Right.
also people that also agree with their religious standing,
Oh, of course.
right?
Of course. Like also religion makes a lot of money.
That it does.
Have you seen the Pope's crib?
God is the best entrepreneur in the fucking
Well, I'm
world.
like, I
That
don't under
motherfucker
I dude,
balling
I don't
out,
understand.
bro.
They say sex sells, dude. God sells. All right.
God sells. Jesus and God are up there just balling, bro. Balling without a budget.
The ball without a budget watching us going, what the fuck are they doing?
Right, right. And look, we respect people's religious beliefs. By all means, practice whatever you
As
want.
long as it doesn't affect anybody else in a, maybe in a negative way,
Correct.
like,
Right.
their right to
And
their body being taken away.
Highland, we can even go down and we can preach scripture right back to them. I mean, look, this is going to sound, look, I may get backlash for this, but I'm going to say it because this is how much I respect my civil liberties and the civil liberties of everybody else, every other citizen in this country as well. You may not agree with abortion. but I do. A woman is allowed to choose. A couple is allowed to choose whether or not they want to go with that type of treatment, whatever.
Right.
And if you also have the ability and the liberty, excuse me, to go and protest said business. It's already happening.
You you
Do I
do.
think that you should be yelling obscenities and harassing the patients of these clinics? No, absolutely not. And I don't think that, scripturally, I don't think that God would want you to either. But
You have the
when
right
it
to
comes,
do it.
but you do have the right to
Yeah.
do it. And I think there is a respectful way of doing it. Do I think you should? I think you should just leave them the fuck alone because there's a bunch of other shit that we should probably fucking be focused on,
Right.
even from a religious standpoint, right?
No, 150%. Like I agree 150%. I was a little scared of where that was going.
Hey, I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I could hear it in your voice.
Yeah, I was kind of like, "Oh, fuck, is he going to say he agrees with the protesters? God damn it." No. I can definitely appreciate that point of view and that opinion because I definitely agree with it. I actually don't think you should be allowed to protest for something like that. And I know I could take backlash for that. But when it
Oh yeah,
comes to somebody's individuality and their life,
right.
why the fuck should you be allowed to protest that? When it affects you in no way, shape, or form, why should you be allowed to protest something so personal that
Right.
does not affect you?
Well, and
Political shit?
yeah.
Of course, you should have every right to protest it. Something that affects you and general population, right? You should be able to protest it. Something that affects you individually, like
Mhm.
actually affects you, not just fucking displeases your opinion. No, I actually do not think that should be a right. Like it kind of feels like it feels backwards. It feels like we're taking the right of the individual who should have this right no matter what. We're taking her right away to safely go get an abortion without being fucking harassed. Like
No, I agree. I don't think that they should be harassed either.
because at the clinics, like in the clinics where I live, like I see it all the time. There's trucks driving around with advertisements, and like they're the one thing that bothers me. Like, okay, fine, you can drive around with a truck with an advertisement, right?
Mhm.
But like a lot of them are just blatantly ignoring science, right?
Oh, what do you mean?
As in like you're killing one of us, like referring to it as a person and then showing a whole baby being aborted. But that's like as like propaganda. Like have you seen abortion propaganda before?
I've seen pictures and
It
whatnot.
it's
Never a full video.
okay, well, it's very grotesque. I mean, but it's doctors will not abort at the point that they're using the like propaganda ad. Like doctors will not abort a fully formed child, and that's what they're using for the propaganda. It kind of just feels incorrect. You kind of see what I mean?
Right. Right.
Like you know, it should be within the weeks that the doctor will abort, and the doctor will abort this as such,
Mhm.
not a fully formed human, which they will not. Like I'm pretty sure that is illegal. I don't know,
So, what
but
would you say what would you say to, like, the argument of, well, there is actually a baby, like, right around 10 weeks, like, that's when a baby is actually formed, like, a human body
if
is actually formed, maybe even a little bit sooner.
if science, because I'm very like with my when it comes to biology especially and
Mhm.
ourselves, I'm
Yeah.
pretty science driven. If science proves that, then science can dictate it, then okay, sure, I will change my opinion. And they can use whatever fucking propaganda they want to for that point. But my
Right.
point is they're not. If there was a change in science and they're like, okay, well, at this point of the baby's maturity, it now becomes a being and it has a fully formed brain and a fully formed heart, then okay, sure, I will change my opinion because uh, science has proven that this is what it is, and I can't deny it. It's right in front of me.
Right.
So if it was like that, then yeah, sure. But it's not like that though. Like it's a good argument, but unfortunately the the argument is it just isn't that, because that almost sounds too like educated for the
Right. Right.
topic. You know what I mean? Like it sounds
Yeah.
mean to say, but like I just we all took biology in school. Maybe all of us didn't, but we all have the internet at our fingertips. We all have the resources to understand and learn about our bodies, and it it does not take a big chunk of your time. We should understand our bodies. We live in them every day until we die.
Right. Well,
So,
not like you said, not only our bodies, but just biology,
but
human biology in general.
exactly. Like we should just we should understand that, and we should want to understand that.
Right.
So it's kind of like, well, it is it just uneducated, or is it just like not educated people or uneducation, or is it stubbornness and maybe like the ignorance and not willing to learn or not willing to change your view past this because this is what you were taught. Like I'm really curious at like why people are so who are pro life are so hesitant to change how they see things when presented
Right.
with different facts.
Yeah, because I mean, I mean, it shouldn't even be on like on a ballot. Like it should just abortion should just be able to happen, and clinics should just be able to do this procedure if they need, or if they're called to do it, or asked to
Right.
do it, they should be able to do it. We can meet in the middle somewhere and say, at a certain week, sure, we can make that the cutoff point, because I
Well,
don't know
they're
what
th-
what's going on in a woman's body exactly, like in her head, in her brain, how
right.
she's feeling. I don't,
There is a
okay,
certain week though. Like there already is a cutoff point.
they're okay, perfect. There we are, and I should have looked that up. So like there's the middle line, but this should never be on a ballot. I think Texas has this completely wrong. And I think even if you are coming from a religious standpoint, there are bigger things that I think God probably wants you to focus on, like yourself, like your own marriage, you know,
Well,
what you
like
have going on in your own life.
why are we harassing these other people who have nothing to
Right.
do with us? Like I don't, and also like how do you think the mother feels, and or the couple? How do you think they're fucking happy and jolly to go have an abortion? It is a fucking emotional, vulnerable, personal time.
Hmm.
It is a very rough time. What, you just think these people like you just think they just go and do it and don't think about it and go out for dinner?
Yeah. No,
That's not
Island,
what
I can tell you,
happens.
Island, I can tell you firsthand experience,
Okay.
because I was in a situation like this,
Right.
and we weren't. I have nothing but respect for the gal that I was seeing at the time.
Mhm.
Still to this day, nothing but respect and love for her. And yeah, we were faced with this type of decision that we had to make. But it wasn't a we decision. It was her decision.
And
And I mean, I was with her. I mean, it, I can't fucking preach and not practice, or I can't practice what I'm preaching, right? Or I can't not practice what I'm preaching. I
yeah.
mean, excuse me.
Yeah.
And ultimately she had came to me, and she had told me what the situation was, and I asked her, "Well, what do you want to do? What would you like to do?" And she knew her answer, and I was there to back her up.
And
And
that's
and
it.
that's
That's all you
that's that. Well, I mean,
it's
what
what else do you do? Like it's a devastating time for both parties. Like
right.
it's it's not a yippee,
Oh,
yay.
yeah. No, we didn't go and fucking jolly and skip down the street, you
No.
know? And, I was there for her because she has to go through this procedure that fucking looked like it hurt like a bitch, and from what she told me, it fucking hurt.
Yeah. Uh, like yeah, exactly. Physically, emotionally, mentally, like
Right.
it you they these people do not need the stress of you holding a sign yelling
All right.
murderer as they go into a clinic.
Regardless of it being your right to do it, you should just
Exactly.
leave them the fuck alone. Honestly, just
Exactly.
leave them the fuck alone. I
Please.
mean, if you feel like your rights are being taken away because you can't go into a certain grocery store because you don't have your vaccine, or you don't have your vaccine passport or whatever, or a negative test within a couple days or whatever of going to the grocery store, go find another fucking grocery store or shop everything on Amazon. You know,
Do that.
Hello Fresh, I'm sure has a great deal. Hello Fresh,
Yeah.
if you're looking for us to be a partner with you, we'd love to have you.
They like there's just so many there's so many options for this
Tons.
specific whatever. And
Right.
also, like, I know me and you don't see eye to eye on the vaccine, but it also, this situation with COVID does not just affect you when if you have it, and it does not affect you
Right.
if you're walking around freely unvaccinated. Like, there are, so I could go on about this, I'm not going to, but I just want to make it clear that you can't smoke on planes anymore. You have to
Right.
show 2 pieces of ID when you buy alcohol. You have a SIN number that is tracked. Your bank account is always being tracked. What where what rights do you think are being taken away? Like, it is no more different than, like, they know everything. The government has all your information. You're like, you have a fucking number assigned to you. That is your number that they keep,
Your
that they
social
gave you.
security number.
Yep, that they gave you. You didn't pick it. You have
All
to have
that
it to work.
all that's left to do is just to get it tattooed on your arm.
Exactly. Exactly. And you have to have it to work. Well, in Canada, you have to have your SIN number to work at least. I don't know if you have to have do you have to have your social insurance number to work there?
Yes. Yeah, you do. Yeah,
So
you have
to
to.
even make income and survive, to even be able to make money legally and go into these grocery stores, you already had to have something that the government implemented that they chose for you that you didn't choose.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I
regardless
understand
of
it doesn't affect, it may not affect your body in a sense, but there are so many examples you can throw out there
yeah, I
of
mean, I could be an
why
illegal, but I
now.
mean, I'm just saying that, like, I could be an illegal alien, and regardless of COVID, I can go in without having to show anything if I'm paying cash, obviously.
Well, if you're an illegal alien, you're getting tortured in Area 51. Don't doubt. Don't kid
Get the
yourself.
fuck out of
Don't kid
Get the
yourself.
fuck out of here.
Don't fucking kid yourself. You think you're
If
gonna
I'm an
waltz into
illegal
fucking
person,
Walgreens and get
yeah,
yourself
if
a
I
fucking carton
yeah,
of milk?
100%.
You don't think your fucking $26 trillion debt military is gonna fucking roll up on you and fucking start doing tests on you?
Not an alien from Mars, you nut.
What alien are you referring? Like, are you using alien as like a?
Yeah, just like you're like a person. Like a person can be an illegal alien. Like they are. How do I say it? Like it's just a term that's used. It doesn't it doesn't literally mean like an alien.
Yeah,
You're just you can
and
be an
what's?
alien.
Oh, are you talking about like if you didn't have your SIN number?
No, just like oh my god,
I'm
hold
really,
on.
well. I'm okay.
I know, you're confused. It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna figure this out right now. An alien, it could be used as an adjective belonging to a foreign country or nation,
Yeah, okay. So you just
or a
replace
noun.
it
uh,
with like immigrant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay, that's I
exactly.
thought that maybe that's what
To
you were
put it
going
very
for.
simply, yeah,
I
yeah. I I didn't know how to break it down exactly, but I just googled it,
Okay,
and there you go.
yeah. If you just like would have
At
said immigrant,
well, at first I was like, okay, I was like, oh,
that could be iffy.
this is a good bit. I like what you're doing. And then I was like, oh shit, no, he really thinks I'm talking about like an actual alien.
Well, because like I just
You're Canadian, I get it.
we just bro. Okay, there are so many times that you will like fuck with me, and so it
Yeah,
gets
no, this
really
is not
hard to understand if you're not
yeah.
fucking with me or not.
No, this is not one of the times that I am fucking with you.
Because,
But to go back, let's backtrack,
right,
right?
right, right.
So when Helen was saying that we don't see eye to eye on certain things. Like, I think in Canada it's different, right? Like, you can't go up and be rude to somebody or say hurtful things, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, I don't know Canadian laws, but what I think I know is that you're not legally allowed to, like, if a
If you say
transgender person
right,
walks in and you, like, even if you hatefully misgender them, on purpose, like, I think you can be, like, arrested for that, right?
we talked about this months ago. You
Mhm,
can, but it is one of those laws like the speed limit, right? You go 5 over. Are you getting
mhm.
caught every day? No.
No, no, definitely
It's
not.
one of those laws that isn't really enforced. Like I think you're talking about the hate speech law, which is an actual
Right.
bill. When you looked it up, it was a legitimate bill
Mhm.
in Canada, but it is not one
I
I've ever
remember,
seen.
yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it enforced
Right,
ever in my entire life. Now it could have been,
right.
but it's just one of those things that is just like the speed limit is like is it ever enforced unless gone to like say you're doing 55 in a 50 zone. Okay, now say you're doing 75, now you're in trouble. Say you assault that person for being transgender, yeah, now you're in trouble. I it's kind of like that difference. Like I know it's not a great analogy, but kind of like it's that
Yeah, I mean,
difference of
I think government overreach is too much reach to begin with, right? I don't think it should start with fuck and end with all bad words or all cuss words. Like, I don't think it should start anywhere. I think it should just be, it's allowed. It's allowed. It's allowed. I think that abortion should never be touched and should always be available to women who need this work or this procedure done. Um, I think
right.
that unfortunately, if the fucking Westboro Baptist Church wants to come and and they want to what am I saying? If they want to parade around a gay soldier that had passed away and they want to protest out in a public sidewalk, well, that's the unfortunate thing that they're allowed to do because I don't want there to be any more government overreach than there already is beginning to take place and that has already taken place in the past.
Right.
I mean, look at what Texas is doing here. I mean, if we start somewhere, it's eventually it's gonna. I feel like it's gonna get to a certain point where we're gonna be a little bit too far up the fucking rabbit hole, if
I
you will.
understand where you're coming from,
You know what I
but
mean?
like look at
And
what
that's where Highland and I don't see eye to eye
n-
necessarily,
no, because
but
I
we
think
don't
there should
fucking hate
be
each other.
no. I think there should
Yeah.
be rule. Like I I disagree in that like
Right.
the government should make it so like okay, so it blows my mind the government makes it so that abortion is illegal in a state such as Texas, but it isn't illegal to go fucking protest against somebody, a homosexual soldier, because they were having a parade and mourning for him, right? Is that what happened? I didn't
What's
hear.
Yeah, they were just what the Westboro Baptist Church, I mean, they're all fuckheads,
Yeah,
and they one of the things they do is, yeah, they go protest a soldier, a gay soldier's, funeral,
right.
for
Okay.
instance.
Super disrespectful.
Very.
Um, you know, and I think that's where, the government should step in and say, no, you're not allowed to do this. Be like it's just like where do the views lie? Like that's kind of
What do
for
you
me
mean?
like of the government. Like if the government wants to say no, you can't fucking go protest this funeral because he was gay, then yeah, I say the government should make that a fucking rule. If the government says the fucking abortion should be illegal, then no, like no, it should not be a rule. I think there are certain things that to me aren't overreach because we're already like yes, like you said, we're already seeing massive overreach with the abortion thing. But I think it matters on what it is. Like I think it matters on like what they're trying to do because like is it really giving gay people more freedom if those people are allowed to fucking literally um protest a funeral because that person was gay? Does like that person doesn't have a right to a peaceful death of mourning?
Well, no, I mean they certainly do.
But they don't.
I just think once you start taking an inch, eventually it'll get to a mile.
Right, but Texas already took the mile.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate for Texas. I think there are things happening right now where they're trying to get it overturned through the Supreme Court or something. I didn't look
I
into
heard
that
AOC talk about
aspect of
it, and
everything. Yeah,
she flipped a fucking goat, and I was very like, good, thank you, thank you. Please tell this old white dude that he doesn't know how your uterus works better than fucking you know how your uterus
right,
works. Like,
right.
thank you. Please speak up.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But I mean, aside from my views or whatever, I don't. I think that's what I mean by it's an unfortunate right that stupid people are allowed to, I guess, take advantage of. But I don't want to start taking the rights of people. I just don't want to start giving the government any more power than they have. To go back, you had made the point of we all have identification numbers, and I think, yeah, they know everything about us, and we already know that they are monitoring everybody. I
yeah, our
think,
phones are listening. You talk about
yeah,
one fucking thing, and an ad pops up.
exactly. Well, I mean, the government in general, our military,
Yeah,
and certain departments already have access to everything that they need, but
yeah, of course.
unless I'm gonna plot some terrorist attack, which I do not want to do that. I have no intention of doing something like that.
Right, they're gonna leave you
They
alone.
would get in huge trouble for coming to me and being like, "Oh, you looked at black porn, the other day on Pornhub or some shit." Like
Right,
they
right.
would get in trouble for that because now they're violating, my Fourth Amendment right, I believe, or my search and seizure law. I forget which one that is.
Yeah,
Excuse
no,
me, but again, it's just like you start with a little bit and they're going to take a mile. Unfortunately, Texas, yeah, they're fucked because the government yeah, they've already taken that mile, which I don't see it staying that way. I'm
I don't see
optimistic that it'll
other
eventually
yeah,
get overturned.
I don't see other countries adopting it. I don't see
Right.
other
Other
countries,
states,
other
even.
states going,
Right.
"Woo! Like we're gonna do this
Y-
too."
Right. Right.
Even though there are some other states like in my head that I'm like, I'm surprised they haven't done this yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's more just like to maybe break it down a little better. It really just matters, like for my opinion on that whole on the right thing, the taking the inch and grab a mile.
Right.
It really matters on what they are taking, because if it's affecting this individual and these people who are affecting these individual in a negative way
Mm-hmm.
because of something that does not affect them in
Right.
any way, shape, or form, then it should be taken away. They should not have that power over somebody, because it is somebody's right to feel safe in their own body and comfortable in their own body. I believe that is a right, that you
Yeah.
should feel safe and comfortable in your own body, and people should not have the right to take that away from you. And they do
Right.
have the right to take that away from you by fucking, obviously the person unfortunately was already passed away, but one example
Right.
of humiliating a fucking funeral.
Right. Oh no,
Like,
they're disgusting people.
no, it is absolutely, but it's not just that. It's protesting the LGBTQ. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
against it. Like
Yep.
that is just. How does it affect you? How does it affect any of you who are
Mm-hmm.
protesting against it? But how is it affecting the LGBTQ community? Mentally, physically, people get assaulted for being
Right.
LGBTQ. They get fucking, mentally battered for it. They can't
Mm-hmm.
feel comfortable in their own body, in their own
Right.
skin.
Oh yeah.
Uh, that isn't fair. That's like that to me is a right taken away. So that's what I mean by that is it really, really matters and depends in what inch they're taking. Is it a step in the right direction, or is it a step backwards, such as Texas?
I don't think that the two are equivalent at all. If you're asking me, I support the LGBTQ plus, and all the other pronouns that go with it. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's
No.
equivalent. I just mean like
Right. But at the same time, like I feel like you are equating the two, um, because I mean, abortion and LGBTQ rights. or protesting a funeral. Like it's all you're. I feel like you're equating them to the extent of how do I word it correctly?
I'm not trying to compare them. It's kind of just like the topic we were talking about, so that's why I used it. I don't generally like they are both very touchy subjects and both should be
Very
handled delicately and properly.
right. Uh-huh.
But would I compare them? Well, they're two very separate things. So no. So I guess that is kind of my fault for bringing both of them in the mix. But
Yes, I guess he had just confused me a little bit
yeah,
there.
yeah, no, they're they are a different fight. They're a different battle,
Yeah, yeah.
completely. So that one's on me.
No, you're good,
Yeah,
man. No, you're good. I just you know, I mean, I guess in this entire conversation when I had first brought it to you, I was just it just surprised me that conservatives, religious conservatives, which I feel like are most of them. Obviously, there's going to be the handful that are just conservative, and
right, right, right,
they, they actually I've spoken with one that says, "Look, I want the woman to have the right to do whatever she wants with her own body, but I also align with these conservative beliefs or opinions." And I say, "Okay, cool. I think that's fucking great. Okay, perfect." I think it's funny that to be coming from the religious conservative background, and trying to take away rights while also keeping all of your
right,
civil liberties, I
right.
find it funny. It's and that's I guess
It's ironic.
that's the picture I'm trying to play paint is like you either have to be all in or just fuck off, basically. So when I bring up the point of the unfortunate happenings of the Westboro Baptist Church, you know, protesting certain things as disrespectful it is, it's either you're all for free speech and the right to protest or we're going to start limiting what we're allowed to do. One example, and I think it was during the time of like George Floyd, or the
Right,
gentleman who was choked out. I don't think that's not the same guy. But
well,
the guy who was choked out for supposedly selling cigarettes
right.
and he got choked out. I'm so sorry for forgetting his name. Um,
Well,
uh,
I
uh,
mean, there's like this is gonna sound terrible, but there are
Eric Garner.
yeah, there are so many instances.
So during that specifically, they were cops had put on these protest areas, which seems a little illegal because you're allowed to protest anywhere publicly. Obviously, you don't do it
Right.
in the middle of the fucking road, but you're allowed to be on a public easement, such as a sidewalk and protest.
Well, you're allowed to
Um,
be in the middle of the
but
fucking road. It's
but
your
I guess you can be in the middle of the road if you really wanted to. I don't recommend it.
I don't
Um,
recommend it, but
you
it
don't want to
like
get
that is part of the that's part of the
regardless.
right. I know
Regardless,
regardless.
they were putting people in these cages essentially, or these little circles of quote unquote protest areas, which I don't agree with. No,
I don't agree. I
you're
listen, I don't agree with that either. I'm not saying
that's
they
what I'm
should
saying.
I shouldn't I'm not saying they should control where you can protest. I'm saying
I
that
didn't say you. Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't say you were either.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, no, that
I
is
was just
complete
painting.
horseshit.
Yeah, no, I was just painting a picture of like you're either all in or you're not, and you're just willing to give up all of your civil liberties or all of your rights or whatever, which I don't want to happen. I think the government is already doing more than I think they should be doing as far as monitoring. I mean, if
Right.
you're, if you're trying to, if you are okay with them peering into your life, even though you're not doing anything illegal, I feel like is horseshit. Because you have a right to privacy. And although I don't think they're going to expose you, um,
Right.
for the shit that you're looking on Pornhub or weird videos that you're watching on YouTube. I don't
Yeah.
think that they're ever going to bring that to light. But who's to say that they don't? If something weird happens, I know we're walking very fine line on a touchy subject, but
I know. I think we come from two different backgrounds because of
we
the
do.
countries we live in.
I
Um,
think so.
like I I'm not so and I'm not saying that this is bad in real any way. I just
Mhm.
like I've never and this could be like this legitimate like and I know this is probably it, but because I'm a fucking blue-eyed white male, I have all of the unfortunately I have all of the privilege in the world. Like,
Sure.
like statistically, for getting jobs, for not being pulled over by cops, for not being shot by cops, for not having to experience police brutality, like
Hmm.
statistically, because of my skin color and eye color and whatever, I haven't had to experience anything like this. But my point is like I am okay with rights being taken. So rights in
Oh,
parentheses.
oh no. Oh no, YouTube's gonna have a fucking field day, bro.
I know with rights being taken away that I don't agree. Like, fuck, this is so hard because then you can just use that with, oh, well, they don't agree with the right to abortion. So why the fuck, whatever.
Right.
But, oh, okay. I got to really convey this carefully.
I know it's weird, right? That's
Right.
why that's why I want to live a simple life and say, look, yeah, they're all in or you're not.
I would love to live that life, but that's not the life we should live. Like, I don't,
Well, that's not the life you live in Canada.
right, right. Like, I think that rights that, like the protesting, which is a great, whatever, which is a great fucking example of,
Hmm.
if you are protesting against something that does not affect your life in any fucking way, you should not have the right to protest it. That, like, I take that right then. Take that right. I don't, because I don't believe it should be a right. Like, I'm happy to give up these rights in parentheses for the right reason.
Hmm.
That kind of thing. And and that's why I say maybe it's because of the privilege of I've never had a right taken away from me.
In a perfect world where I don't think that our leaders in office or our representatives in office would take more. In a perfect world, I'm okay with, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, fuck the Westboro Baptist Church. Fuck them. Yeah, they
That's
shouldn't
what
be
I mean.
allowed to
Like, it,
protest. In a very perfect world, would I agree with you? Yes.
yeah, but we,
Do
of
I
course, we
trust?
don't live in a perfect world.
Right. And that's why I mean, like, I'm either all in or I'm not, and I think that's probably where the religious conservatives are coming from. It's like, okay, well, they're all into their faith and I respect that, but you can't be all into your faith and also be a huge fucking nationalist or,
Mm-hmm.
be a fucking proud US citizen. Like there needs to be a separation of church and state. And
But it's just a big ironic like fuck to the
it's so weird.
face.
It's so weird, bro.
It's we are free, but our women can't have abortions.
Ex and, that's what I wanted to point out mostly is what I find funny, and, I don't want people may misinterpret this a little bit, Island is a very he has a certain beliefs, and I think he should be respected for that, and,
As for
nobody should be
you,
attacking him, and as for myself, I don't think we should be attacked for some of our beliefs,
nobody should
or
be
my belief.
attacked. No,
Nobody should be fucking
even if
attacked.
you are okay, even if you are far right and like with a lot of that, I disagree entirely.
Sure.
I'm like not going to attack you and call you names, and I'm not going to assault you or
Right.
like
Right.
I I do want to hear the other side. I want to understand the thinking process that goes behind of why do you think this way? How did you gather these opinions? Where do they stem from? Like, I would rather hear your side and have an actual like debate or
Mhm.
a control, we'll call it a controlled argument or conversation
Right.
about this where we are bringing points and counterpoints to our opinions, and where in a perfect world we are distancing opinions to facts because people like to think that their opinion is fact. I also think
Right.
that is a huge issue where we
Yep.
need to separate this is a fact without any doubt that we've proven this is your opinion, because your opinion does not make it fact, and that goes for myself as well. There's so many times that I thought my opinion was fact and I've
Mhm.
had to fucking swallow my tongue and
Yep.
no, I'm wrong. And it took me a long time, like not up until like probably like when I hit 20 was like I just got to swallow the pill because like I don't want to be a person that's stuck not learn like a person that's stuck not learning and absorbing knowledge just because
Right.
my stubborn ass can't fucking swallow the pill of I was wrong. And you don't,
Beautifully said, bro.
yeah, you don't
Beautifully
even,
said.
right. And thank you. You don't even have to, you don't even have to put it as you were wrong. Maybe you misunderstood.
A misunderstanding.
It's a misunderstanding. So
Uh, when you say you would like to have a conversation, we're getting there on time, and
we are.
I'm probably going to ask you to roll us out here, but I think it is safe to say that this is part one. And I think a second part to this conversation will be had in the
Okay.
near future. And I think that we should get, maybe a nice lady to come and talk to us about abortion. Maybe we could break this up. And first half we have one conversation, and then another half we have another conversation with somebody else. But I think you'd be okay with calling it a part one.
I would love to call it a part one. I mean, this is a
Perfect.
strong subject that 1 hour
Very.
cannot come close to covering.
Yeah, which is why I was like, I think, I think there's gonna be more parts to this, and
Right.
I think it's really interesting. But yeah, bro, I appreciate you laying down, your beliefs and your opinions, and
You
I'm
too.
glad that we were able to get through this respectfully.
Yeah, me too. And I hope some of you can take from this and maybe learn like it doesn't have to be all calling each other names and shitting on each other's beliefs. It can be respectful. You don't have to agree. Even if you fucking hate the idea so much, you have to respect the opinion of other people.
Correct.
Anyways, so off that topic, thank you guys so much for watching. Uh, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notey bell, ding, ding,
Yes.
ding, ding, ding. Part 2. Oh shit, it's uploaded. Yeah, thank you guys so much. We really hope you listen through this entire episode.
Yeah.
It is a harsh one, so maybe take a breather afterwards. Just cool down, simmer down, take a nice ice cold bath, clear your thoughts. That's all I
Yeah,
have to say.
write a comment. I'm sure
Yeah,
I'll be clipping this into some TikToks and
right.
Instagram, and yeah, feel free to, DM us or
Share your
comment
opinion.
down below, share your opinion, and Hyland, I'm sure would love to reply to you in the comment section. So we'd
Mm,
love to hear back from
Of
you guys.
course, maybe there's something I can learn from you.
There you go.
Alrighty, thank you guys so much.
Bye.